All right. We're going to go ahead and call the Utilities Commission meeting to order, 7:30 p.m. First item on the Utilities Commission agenda is to approve the minutes of March 4th, 2019.
I would approve that, excuse me, I would move that we had approved the Utility Commission meetings for March the 4th, 2019, as submitted.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, let the record show we unanimously approved the Utilities Commission meeting minutes of March 4th, 2019. The second item on the Utilities Commission meeting agenda is to read the operating funds on hand. Currently, the total cash on hand, the balance is $1,755,260.74. Within that is a designated capital fund set aside for capital projects of $920,400. The third item on the Utilities Commission meeting is the payment of the bills. Is there a motion to pay the bills?
I move that we approve the bills as submitted.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show we unanimously agree to pay our bills, which brings us to the quintessential Utilities Commission report that we get every single month from the often imitated, never duplicated Bob Sykes.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We ordered a printer for printing out the blueprints that were getting done. We have it in, it's installed, and it's ready to go. We gave a tour to the water treatment plant last week for Washington College. I think it was the chemistry section. And we got another round of biomonitoring completed at the wastewater plant. And it came back looking very good. And that's all I got.
That was a great report.
The shorter the greater.
Are there any questions for Mr. Sipes?
No, but did you ever hear the story about the college kids? This has been 40 years ago. They discovered that wonderful pond to swim in near Chestertown. Supposed to be the truth.
Mr. Cable told me that story. There were actually 3 or 4 of them that were over there swimming in the wastewater lagoons.
Good times.
But, yeah.
Softer than sand, I guess. So.
Wow.
We actually have a couple pair of osprey over there already, nesting.
All right, are there any actual questions for Mr. Sipes? All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn Utilities Commission meeting.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Out.
Short and sweet.
Thank you.
That was
Night, Bob.
legit. Short, Bob. Good job.
He's an Orioles fan too, I can tell that.
All right, we're going to go ahead and, I'd just like to use that. We're going to go ahead and convene the Mayor and Council meeting, 7:33 p.m. after a 3-minute Utilities Commission meeting. The first item on our agenda is to approve the minutes of the Mayor and Council meeting of March 18th, 2019, and minutes for the special meeting of March 27th, 2019.
I would move that we approve the Mayor and Council meeting for March the 18th, 2019, and the Mayor and Council special meeting on March the 27th as submitted.
Is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Executive session.
Any opposed? Okay, let the record show we unanimously agreed to approve those minutes for March 18th, 2019 and March 27th, 2019. And as part of that, I need to read the summary of our executive session of March 27th, 2019 into the public record. Mayor Serino called executive session to order at 5:03 p.m. March 27th, 2019 to discuss a personnel matter under General Provisions Article 3-305B1. In attendance at the meeting were council members David Foster, Ellsworth Tolliver, and Marty Stetson, along with Bill Ingersoll, Town Manager, and Amanda Miller, Finance Director. The Mayor and Council interviewed 2 candidates for the position of Marina Manager. No motions were made or passed. The meeting adjourned at 6:03 p.m. Minutes were taken and are part of the record. Do I need to do anything from this?
No, I just need to put that in our files. Thank you.
All right, so that's a summary of our executive session. Next on the agenda is the total operating funds on hand for the town of Chestertown. This evening, our total operating funds on hand for unrestricted use come to $1,047,492.92. We do have some restricted use funds for the marina. The balance is down to $2,553.42. All right, moving right along. The next item on the mayor and council meeting agenda is the payment of the bills.
I'll move that we pay the bills as submitted.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we unanimously agree to pay the bills. Which brings us to our first presenter, the 2020 census. Jillian Cordova and Chastity Durham Miller.
It's just
It's
me,
just you.
Jillian.
Okay.
Can I help?
Sure, thank you.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you so much for having me tonight. I really appreciate it. And
You're welcome.
actually, tonight's kind of a special night because today is a big benchmark for the 2020 census. We are officially 1 year out of April 1st, 2020 Census Day. So I started my day off with a state complete count committee kickoff at the Senate building in Annapolis. Governor Hogan appointed a committee of members that are working at the state level to make sure we get a complete and accurate count for the 2020 census. And I'm not sure if you're aware, but on February 15th, the governor put out an executive order really encouraging communities to get involved in the 2020 census. I think in 2019 alone, Maryland received over $13 billion based on census data. And we want to make sure that we get a good count for 2020 so that we can keep going with that. So there's some big changes to the 2020 census as compared to previous census in the past. The biggest one is that this is going to be an electronic census. So in March of 2019, people will get a mailing to their address, and they're going to be requested that they use a code to go online and fill out the census. It's great for a lot of reasons and not so great for some others. We also have a phone option to call in for the census, and if none of that happens, you can request a mail-in, and if you don't do anything, you'll get a mail-in. And if you don't do that, then someone will come knocking on your door summer 2020. So those are a few things to think about. A few other things, and why I'm here in Chestertown, is technically you're all looking pretty good for the 2020 census. We have a mapper that we use, Census Rome, which is Response Outreach Area Mapper. You can Google that, pull it up, and you can narrow down on tracks within a community. And Chestertown, based on the 2010 census and the American Community Survey, which we do every 5 years, has had a pretty good response rate. However, if we have a low response score percentage of 20 or above, we get a little concerned. You guys are 20.8, so it's not super alarming, but there's a couple things that we want to pay attention to. Nationwide, we have an undercount with families that have children under the age of 5. According to the data that I looked at for Chestertown, you have a 2.4% percentage of children under the age of 5. But I still like to let people know that this is really why we need to get to schools, we need to use any programs to talk to families, and let them know some of the variables that fall into that, are simply divorced homes, someone not sure who's going to respond on the census, guardians, like grandparents, not sure should they respond, should the parents respond, people taking or getting public assistance, they might be reporting at this address, or they get their public assistance at this address, but they're really living over here and they're concerned about the confidentiality of the census and how that could affect them. A few other things, particular to Chestertown, I noticed there is a 28.43% of population that's over 65. And just keeping that in mind, with the census being primarily online, we want to make sure that people understand that they have access to internet. And some of that might be mobilizing community places like the library to make sure people can come in, fill out the census, get questions answered. Fortunately, the census has gone from 30-something questions down to only 10 or 11, so it makes it quite a bit easier. Another really big population I noticed is the college student population, which is really important because I know when I was in college, I don't know who checked the mail, who was going to respond for us, things like that. So we want to make sure that the college students understand that you're living here, practically year-round, and on April 1st, you need to respond as though you are living here in Chestertown, so Chestertown gets the funding they deserve. And then also their parents don't need to respond for them, wherever home may be. So that's a really important population that I'll explain a little bit more how to reach out to.
So even if they're registered to vote somewhere else, if they're here 8 or
Yes.
9 months a year, they should.
Where you're living on April 1st, 2020 Census Day is where you should respond. A couple other things that communities can do is form what I talked about a little bit earlier that the state did, a complete count committee. And essentially this is kind of a neighbor-to-neighbor program where we pool trusted community leaders to get out there and spread the message of the census, to use whatever community resources you have to kind of get out there and say the census is coming, this is why it's important, and really finding the messages to why it's important to whatever populations there are in Chestertown. I live on Eastern Shore, but I don't know what necessarily is important to Chestertown, and you all do. So we ask that, you consider forming a committee, and I don't want to scare everybody, everyone's busy with another committee. This could be something that you meet with, quarterly. It can be a conference call. It can be emails just saying, hey, who's working on this? Have you put these flyers out? Have we run this PSA? We don't ask you to reinvent the wheel. We have all that stuff for you. We just want you to kind of take a look and figure out what's best for your community. And I am the census liaison for the Eastern Shore, so technically what I do is I come in, I talk about the complete count committees, I do a brief training for the complete count committees so that we have, a census history and a concise message that we're spreading, throughout, I guess, essentially the nation about what we're doing with the census. Another couple things with these trusted community leaders on the committee is we really, really want to relay how important the census is, and I keep going back into funds. There's more than $675 billion federal dollars that are allotted to communities every year based on census funds. So we want to make sure that we keep this great response you all have had in the past up, or even better, so that you can make sure you keep getting your portion of that. Also, we want to emphasize how easy the census is and letting people know the different ways that they will be able to respond. And lastly, especially within our current political climate and just a little bit of distrust sometimes of the internet, is letting people know how confidential the census is. Your responses aren't shared. It doesn't affect things like your public assistance. We're not concerned about your legal status. We just want you to respond and make sure that we're getting the resources needed in the community. And then lastly, we have lots and lots and lots of jobs. And the jobs you can apply for online, which I can send out some materials, or I leave some in the back. And we need people to work right here in the community from home, out in the neighborhood, basically kind of canvassing the community for us. And we have several operations. The very first one's going to start this summer. And what I understand is that we'll be pulling from the pool of applicants in May to start an operation, the address canvassing operation in August. So essentially what we'll do is we'll train community members, we'll give them a device, their assignments would roll in via email, and they would go out and do whatever they were asked to do. The training would be local. The pay starts between $17 and $18.50 an hour for the lowest level of those positions, so that's pretty decent. I don't recommend anyone quitting their full-time job, but it's a great way to make some supplementary income. You get paid mileage, you get paid weekly. There's a lot of perks. And then after that, we'll have several other operations that will roll through practically until fall of 2020. So it's some really great opportunities, and everyone I talked to, I wasn't involved in last census, talks about how much fun it is. Back to the college, we will also have a group quarters operation that usually runs over a 3-day period in March, where we really go out to places like college campuses, dorms, prisons, homeless shelters, so we can really capture that population in that small amount of time. So it's just kind of letting those organizations know we're coming, and this is what we're doing during that time frame. Do you have any other questions for me? That's a lot of information, I know.
Now, on the
I have a
group quarters,
question.
Yeah.
On the group quarters, you make sure that they're not on spring break at the college?
Yes, yeah. We'll have, when we form those kind of field operations teams, we'll be working with the colleges and
Okay,
prisons.
it says here you work out of Philadelphia. You work out of there physically?
No, that's just kind of like my home base. I work out of my home in Wycomico County.
Okay.
Really
I was going to say, that's a heck of a commute to come
Yeah,
down
no.
here.
No. They like to hire us locally, so we kind of know the area a little better. Anything else you want?
Are we straight on our mapping? Because we had a request for us to show any annexations, and we already did that by paper.
That's a little different from my department. From what I
Okay.
understand, those deadlines have passed.
Well, yeah, and
Yeah.
we not only did it pass, but we were well before it, so.
Right.
The only annexation we ever had in this time period was, no one lives there anyway, so.
Okay.
It's at the lagoon. If they live there, they're
Yeah, good.
it's the same
Swimming.
place to live. Waterfront, but, thanks.
Well,
Thank you.
all so
Thank you very
I
much.
appreciate it.
Thanks, Jillian.
All right, next up is Sabine Harvey, Farmers Market and Chestertown Tea Party.
I know.
Two big hats right there.
Crazy, right? So, which one would you like to?
Let's do the Farmers Market first.
Okay, thank you. The farmer's market. So, first I want to thank Bill and Jen and Amanda, because they have been just fantastic in terms of all kinds of assistance, paperwork, God knows whatever, answering questions, so thank you very much. And I guess this past week I went to a training because you guys allowed me to register the farmers market with the Maryland Farmers Market Association. And the Maryland Farmers Market Association received a large grant from MDA. And with that money, what they can do is they can match funds of people who come and shop at the farmers market with food stamps, EBT cards, or with WIC coupons. And so, and Bill very nicely signed the MOU for this. So what will happen is that if somebody comes with an EBT card, they will actually provide us with with an iPad, so I can swipe that card. They say, for instance, I want to, spend $10 at the market. And they essentially will pay through that iPad. I then give them $10 worth of wooden tokens, like the wooden nickels, and they can then go and purchase things at the farmer's market. In addition, because of this grant, every Saturday that they come, I can give them an additional $5. And the way it works with WIC is I can actually match them dollar for dollar. So if they come with a coupon and they spend $10, they will get an additional $10 from this grant. And so the initial disbursement that we're going to get is $500. And we'll take it from there and see how far that will carry us. So I will meet with Amanda tomorrow because, of course, this needs, need to figure out where this money is going to go. And then the way it works is that at the end of the market, the farmers will return those tokens to me, and then, of course, they need to get paid. So we need to figure out how this is all technically.
Do you think this is going to be a popular thing?
I hope so. Well, the other thing that I wanted to do, and I would need your approval for this, I'm obviously going to talk with social services and Dania Bent, who's the WIC coordinator for Kent County. And there are some people who shop with WIC at the farmers market. I don't think anyone has shopped there with EBT cards because none of the farmers have been trained to receive those. But this should cover the entire market.
EBT stands
For
for?
food stamps. So, and I thought, wow, well, if we're going to do wooden nickels anyway, how about we issue our own? And that way they could be like gift certificates to the farmer's market, or people could make a donation and I'd have additional money. So I've done some research, and for $100 we could have 500 additional wooden nickels printed that that would say Chestertown Farmers Market, and that would be like our internal payment system. I could maybe bring them to the like the natural food store or something. Have some of the local shops have them available so that people can buy these, and they could become a form of
Currency.
yes, currency and gift giving to the farmers market. Just a thought. I thought it was fun. Lots of farmers markets do this.
Yeah,
So
we do.
It's worth a
And,
try.
yeah, all the farmers that I talked to all the farmers, and everyone was like, yeah, we do this at this market, we do this at this market. So this is a fairly common thing that happens at most markets. So there you go, that's one. I'm very excited about this. I really hope that this will work, and we'll do a lot of advertising to get the word out. And then I had about 5-6 farmers who were willing to move to High Street. And so I had a meeting with a group of them this past week as well. And Roy Mears and I, we actually walked out to High Street to see if that is feasible. And as it turns out, so the sidewalk there is 12 feet wide.
Right.
The tents are at a minimum 10 by 10. And because the cars would have to be parked parallel, so right along the curb, if you put up a tent, you have a 2-foot walkway left. And then we looked up on High Street. Well, there is also a planting bed there with 2 very large trees. Linda and Dave know about this because I showed it to them. And the planting bed actually spills over into the sidewalk. So then there would be no space left for people to walk. So that's kind of an issue. Then we thought, well, let's move the tents onto the grass. Scary, right? And have the people walk on the curbside. Well, the problem there is the planting bed, because the planting bed takes up so much space that really realistically, you can have about 2 vendors on the south side of the planting bed and like 1.5 vendor, 1 really, on the north side of the planting bed. And obviously, from a marketing point of view, who wants to stand by their lonesome self like, hello, I'm standing here selling something as well. So, and then there would only be like 3 farmers on that side. So that really, even though we were, there were people willing to go there, just logistically, that is not.
I mean, do they all have to have tents? Why can't they just have tables? Like, I don't think every vendor there has a tent, or do they?
Because it rains.
I know, but when it's raining, there's not a ton of people there.
But the vendors still come. Right. And then if you sell baked goods, you need to be covered per health department regulations. And I'm not sure whether health department regulations tell you that you have to be covered with vegetables, I'm not sure. But at least prepared food, baked foods, you have to be covered. The sun shines. I mean, people have tents. People can hang up their banners to identify who they are. And I know from experience, excuse me, if you just put a banner, at the front of your table, it takes 1 or 2 people to stand in front of your table, and nobody knows who the heck you are anymore because your banner gets covered, right? So stuff like that, and so yeah.
You're talking about a tarp, not a real tent, like, that's a front.
I'm talking about a pop-up tent.
Pop-ups.
Yeah, the easy-ups.
Tents come in all kinds of widths, you can get them at 8 feet, 6 feet.
Well, these things come in at a 10 by 10 minimum, and the nice part about it is...
That's pretty, I don't know if we got any of them out. Do we have them on the other side that are 10 by 10?
Yeah, they're all 10 by 10.
Everybody's 10 by 10.
We have some 12 by 12.
I didn't know they were that wide.
Yeah, and the nice part is, because I've done this many Saturdays, these easy-ups, first of all, they're heavy and sturdy. So when we have our nice Eastern Shore.
So we're giving you part of the street. Could they put part of it in the street?
On High Street?
Yeah.
We looked at that too. The only way that would be possible is if High Street were to be closed.
Yes.
Because it is, we looked at it, and I had Steve Lozer came out and looked at it too, one of our police officers, and it really would be very dangerous to have cars parked there, like halfway up the street, and have tents in the street without the street being closed. So that's a whole different...
How wide is the sidewalk on the other side? Is it that much wider than the 12 feet?
No.
But they're already, the parking places are already...
It's about the same, about 12 feet.
See, the difference is on the Park Row side, is there the cars parallel park, and a lot of, no, they don't parallel park, they park diagonally.
Right.
And then most of the vendors actually, because they can park diagonally, right, their car isn't in the way, they can actually put the tent partly into the street. So there the tent is already, for most vendors, 1 or 2 feet into the street. But they can do that because a tailgate takes up a lot less room than the whole length of the
Sure, I
car.
was just trying to figure out why it worked on one side and not the other.
Yeah. So, well, it's mainly the planting bed, because there is no planting bed on the Park Row side. So even if there's, there is, first of all, more sidewalk left, and second of all, people don't like bump into the daffodils that are growing halfway on the sidewalk. So, yes.
So bottom line is, none of them are gonna be on High Street.
Not unless we come up with a very creative solution. So, I mean, we tried and they were willing and we made a big thing out of it and stuff like that. So, now, I like Bill's idea of closing down High Street for the duration of the farmer's market, but I take it that's a whole different
I have no problem with
discussion.
it. My only question would be, would the store owners on High Street be okay with that?
Well, I mean, that would be something to.
Would we close it down or just make it one way and have the lane closest to the shops still open?
I'm looking at the back. I'm
Yeah.
looking at-
It's really hard to change patterns.
Yeah, I'd prefer closing.
It really is. My notion was to experiment, and this was a couple of years ago before you were on the council, with closing it down and considering closing the other block also at the same time, so you have Village Square. And nobody's really trying to go down those streets, or you're not putting a heavier volume on Park Road because High
Right.
Street's closed.
Right.
But, we had to talk with our merchants, and
Sure.
before, we just floated a small trial balloon that didn't get a very good reception, so.
So, I mean, I think it could be very nice. You could have a very nice pedestrian area. You could put tables and stuff on the sidewalk. I mean, I think it has great potential. And, lots and lots of downtowns shut down 8th Street.
And this would be just Saturday morning?
Just Saturday morning. Lots of, but that would be not my decision, clearly. So it would be something to explore and it's
Do we want to float that balloon again and see what happens?
When we float that small park in the Wilmer Park at the same time.
No. Stop inflating.
I talked with Kay about it today too, and I think we need to sort of get some help on this, on getting the word out, getting the question out again. And just to try it, one time and see if the merchants also benefit from the fact that people are walking around. And I don't think we should put the artisans really next to the stores that might sell similar things.
No, I mean, it would be.
I mean, you just have to think that out, who goes where.
Right, it would be.
Nothing conflicting with Main Street on Main Streets.
Right, no, it would be the market vendors.
Well, you think it goes without saying, but I'm just saying.
Yes,
Okay?
no, I got that, yes. So,
All right, so let's figure out a way to float that idea again.
Well, by the next meeting, you and I want to take Saturday, and we can ask
Sure,
the
we can.
businesses that'll be affected
right.
on
I
High.
mean, if you think about it, a lot of people will park their car on High Street, I mean, on the store side, for pretty much the entire 4 hours anyway. So whether that would actually impact, I mean, it's not like that their cars are zooming in and out of there the entire time. So, I don't know, anyway.
I think it's worth a try, just to see what.
It takes coordination between the manager of the farmer's market,
Right.
the main street, our chief of police, and our street department, so we get the right barricades out and get a little advance notice. But
Yeah, it's not something that will happen next Saturday.
there's plenty of detours, so if those 2 blocks are closed, Spring Avenue would still be open, Cross Street would still be open, so.
And at
with-
this point, I'm gonna have to turn people down because we're essentially, I keep getting more applications to be at the farmer's market, and so we're pretty full at this
Good.
point. So, which is cool, right?
Yeah.
Very nice. And then I have 2 logistical things.
Can I do one, Your applications to the farmer's market, are they actually from farmers?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I'm not, I don't want to say trinket salesmen.
No, the applications that I get are
Artisans, yeah, that's what.
are produce people, or people who sell meat or chickens, or, who grow things, who produce things, yes. So the other issue is, I actually took a picture of it, and I printed out one for you to share in the interest of trees. But anyway, here's the gigantic pothole that that Lockbriar Farms is.
I just talked to Bob Sipes,
Yeah.
and it's on the list when, where the water breaks were on this side
Okay.
of Park Row. It's on the list to be fixed.
Okay, then you need to pass it along anymore. So, and the other issue is electricity. So, and that is of course also a Tea Party thing, because some of the outlets aren't working, and I can already hear the food vendors during Tea Party yell at me, never fun. But I guess there's one food vendor in particular, Cedar Run, and so when it gets hot, their truck, they have frozen meat, and it gets too hot, and then they were running the truck, but then people complained, so they can't run their truck anymore, but they can't plug in either, and that's a bit of an issue. And I talked to Lou, and what they need is actually, they need 110 with 30 amps. So they don't need extra current, they just need a larger 30 amp.
You said 220 when we talked before,
Yeah, that's
remember that?
because yes, that was
Okay.
because I was given wrong
30 amp.
information. 30 amp is what we need.
This is actually something that I sometimes get a little bit emotional about, because the park was designed with the lanterns, and there's electricity there, but it really wasn't designed to have they're not that frequent, and they're not really 30 amp. They weren't designed for, a coolant for a truck.
Right.
So, and it's all underground. It's all in a small conduit that Mr. Baldwin thought enough to put in years ago. Not Billy, but his father. So this would be a major, major expense. And as you and I discussed, people will be running cords across the sidewalk, and we have a liability there. I don't think we anticipated the farmer's market having every vendor using electricity, and I don't think it should be free. I don't want to sound like the Grinch, like I always
No, I
do.
totally
but
agree.
I know. But, and I asked you to inventory
I did.
who was it that needed it.
So Cedar Run needs electricity. Right now, they're actually running one of their scales on it, and I hope that...
I didn't mean for you to bring up each one tonight,
Okay, well,
but I mean to go over,
And-
so we could work it out in the office, if we can.
right.
But where is as important, when you were talking 220,
No, that...
I know you're not, but where these vendors go and who needs electricity and paying for it, since it'll make others jealous, because who wouldn't want electricity if you could have it anyway?
Right, and so I asked, and at other markets, they do get charged a little extra for having access to electricity, and I think that's fair. So, and I totally agree with the liability issue as well, and we had that problem last year with the Tea Party Festival, that somebody actually tripped over a wire, and we almost got sued. So this year for the Tea Party Festival, we're buying these, oh gosh, they're like these threshold, and you can put your wires through it. They're 40 inches, and they're like 60 or 70 bucks. They really don't break the budget. And I would even be willing, since for the Tea Party, they'd be sitting in storage for 364 days out of the year, I don't see why we couldn't share, since we're gonna buy like 8 of them. So,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, I figured they should have them themselves if they're gonna run a cord, but if they're not, I don't want anyone tripping, because that was not a fun
For
situation.
the farmer's market, how many vendors do you expect? I'm familiar with Cedar Run, but I don't know any other meat vendors there.
No, so we are getting some more, we're getting somebody who, and I don't know, I need to talk to them about their electricity, if they have electricity requirements, but we're getting somebody from Queen Anne's County who will be selling chicken, pasture-raised chickens. And I've gotten a lot of requests from people who say, hey, can you try to find a fish vendor? So I haven't had time yet to pursue that, but that would be cool, right? And so, yeah, so it's stuff like that. And it, it'll be nice. So.
Well, there was another option too with the revenue that comes in from the farmer's market. More vendors, and if we maximize the revenue, maybe we could get an estimate on how much it would cost to upgrade the electricity in the park.
Sure.
So, I mean, it's just something for you to think about.
And I say that because of all the festivals that we have
Yes.
in Fountain Park and the need for electricity.
Right, and I mean, it's not like people are charging their phones or stuff like that. So, and thanks to, we now also have a vendor Wi-Fi network password protected, so that people can
But,
make
but
electronic.
look, they're writing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's password protected, I'm not gonna tell you the password either.
So we got a pothole that needs to be fixed. We've
Limited
got,
access.
we're gonna talk to vendors about maybe closing down High Street on a trial basis, and we wanna look into possible electrical upgrades.
Right, and then,
Anything else?
no, that's it. In other words, I've been pretty darn busy.
Yeah, I can see.
So the artisans are back. They were
Yeah,
back
this it was a
Saturday.
glorious day.
It was.
Full market, I mean, it was
Market
just
was
absolutely
full.
spectacular.
People and dogs.
Right, it was. It was a beautiful
Absolutely.
day.
I hope you plan for next Saturday the same.
Well, I always do, right?
All right, do you have tea party stuff?
Yeah, tea party, so I submitted the, I hope you have it, the permit. And it is essentially the same, except for that, we did put in a request to the Clydesdales, but of course we haven't heard from them, so I think at this point it's probably a moot point. But it's essentially the very same permit as we always submit. The only difference is that to accommodate, to make sure that the town crew, the cleanup crew gets out of here on time, we are closing down the festival an hour earlier than we've had in the past. So we're not going until 5, we're going until 4.
I think that's good, because a lot of the vendors
Right,
probably would prefer that.
yes. So from now on, it's gonna close down at 4, and we've met with town maintenance, with Tom, and we've met with the security team to really make sure that our end of the day goes smoothly. And I'll probably set up a separate meeting with the food vendors too.
So Bill, do we need a motion to pass this permit?
It's always good to have a motion.
Somebody want to make a motion to pass the tea party permit?
I'm on the board, I can't.
I make a motion that we approve the application for Tea Party permit.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Well, I have to
Abstain.
recuse.
That's right, that's 3, that's enough.
Any
That
opposed?
would have been the day.
Any opposed? Any abstain? One abstain. All right, so got your permit?
Excellent, fantastic.
And we need volunteers.
Oh, we do need volunteers. We need so many volunteers. We always need volunteers, so we'll put out a call soon. But we have some very nice new entertainers, a colonial magician, a conjurer, whatever that might mean. Somebody's going to come and make chocolates the old-fashioned way on a slab of granite and stuff like that. So it should be a good fest. Oh, and the nice part is that Sumner Hall is playing a large role in the festival this year. They will have people in the parade. They're providing a bunch of programming. They will be open during the entire Tea Party Festival. So that should be really good. I know different time period, but to some extent, it's all the history of Chestertown, and it's all important, so I feel like they need, we need to make sure that people know about it.
All right, thank you very much.
You are quite welcome.
All right.
A pleasure.
Okay, next on the agenda is Frank Hurst with the bocce update. And remember, Frank, you're addressing the last year's Thursday night regular season champions.
What'd you say, Chris? I'm going to start my remarks with a question, specifically directed to our mayor.
Uh-oh.
Are you ready for some bocce?
Of course, always ready.
There we go, it's that time. We're going to start on April 16th, and we will end on Tuesday, June 25th. We're taking a new approach. Marty proposed this, the captains approved. We're not going to have the playoffs as structured in the past. We're going to go with the champion from Tuesday night playing the champion from Thursday night. So hone your skills there, Chris.
I'm working on it.
And the bocce ball will be that same evening, June 25th.
And it's 5, what time is it, Frank? On each night?
6.
6.
And during our spring season. Membership last fall was 325 players, with the addition of 3 new teams and the return of one of our prior teams, we'll easily have 350 people playing this spring. Jen, if you would distribute that budget.
Yep.
I presented this budget to the captains the other week. Want you to see where we stand. We have a current cash of $8,574. And significant over the past year was the investment in maintaining the field. I talked it over with Tom and with our officers, and we agreed to make a one-time investment to see if we could improve the grass surface. Recognizing all the traffic that it gets from other events, we thought it was worth a try. So we aerated and then composted and seeded it. And while it's patchy now, I'm assured that the root structure is going to be strengthened by all that effort, and we should have a good growth this spring and summer. And we'll basically just patch it as needed. And the only thing I would ask of you all is not anything that you can do formally, I imagine, but just try to encourage those vendors for big events. If it rains, try not to run the trucks through the middle of the field. We can live with the perimeter and flatten that all out, but if we start notching the middle of the field, then we'll just make do. But anything that can be done to help limit that damage, we understand. We are going to have a website. We have a volunteer, the captains volunteered to pull together. Our treasurer, Bruce Hartwig, has volunteered to update it, maintain it. We're going to put a little history in there. We're going to have the weekly scores, the standings, information on contacts, who to contact if you run touring bocce. The only thing I would ask of you all is that once it's up and running, possibly you would consider putting a link on the town web pages or the rec, and maybe also the rec web page to guide people with any questions or requests for information for bocce. That leaves the only other thing that I have is to ask of you the perennial question, this time for the 12th time, asking that the grass be cut on Tuesdays during the season. Tom typically does that. He's already trimmed the plants back so we can get to the trunks. I asked for a continuation of the waiver for open container, especially for the heavy drinking members of the town. And that's it. That's all we need.
That sounds good.
Do I need a motion for grass cutting and beer drinking?
I don't think, maybe for
I
the
would
open container.
just waive the open container for the year, I would say,
Okay,
or maybe perennially. Because we haven't
let's do
had,
it. Right, I'm with you. I'm all
we've
in.
never had an incident with
No.
this group.
No.
So,
All right, someone willing to make a motion to waive the open container law for the
Also
bocce?
move that we waive the open container for bocce.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I enthusiastically vote aye. Any opposed?
Okay.
our whole team,
Unanimously passed.
we should.
Yeah, and thank you all for your continued support. It's
Yeah,
a lot of
thanks.
fun, as several of you can attest, so we'll keep it going.
It is a bizarre cultural phenomenon, and you're a great leader for it.
Who knew?
Who knew?
We had
That is a
such
great way to put it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, town manager's report.
I would really I don't have anything. I have Drew McMullen here to go over what's going to happen at Delrigan this year. Everybody got a copy of this in their box.
I got it.
Everybody got it?
I did.
And there's
glad
not a
I
lot
got
of
it here.
news, though it's going to be, should be our most exciting Delrigan ever. Because of the
That's
status.
the plan. That is the plan.
Yep.
Thank you for letting me come before you tonight. So I think the best way to do this is to just go through this letter piece by piece. Some of these are new, some of these are very much things that we cut and paste from this letter for years and years and years. Is that all right with everyone?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So starting on page 1, the section A with the Chestertown Marina docks. Our first request is use of the two T-heads, the fuel dock and the downriver dock, so Pier C and B, from Wednesday, October 30th through Tuesday, November 5th. Usually the big ships don't come in until Thursday, but sometimes if there's bad weather, they'll come in Wednesday. And this is how it's always been. I just always like reminding that when those big ships are there, it does restrict access into the marina for transient vessels, especially ones with masts. So it's just important that whoever is running the marina, if there are reservations taken for transient slips, in addition to the ones that we request, that people know that. The second one is we'd like to use the large boat basin, which was the sort of big pier. If you look at the document you're drawing, that looks like this.
Third page,
So it
I got a
is-
copy, but it's home.
fourth page.
It is all the way to the left. It's basically this slip on the inside of where Sultana is traditionally docked.
Maybe the fifth page.
Yeah, it's the one that, there you go. So all the way to the left, the one up there that says down, DWR requested 10:30 through 11:05. Because you can put a pretty big boat on there. We have one lined up. So here's one where I've left it a little bit open, and maybe I shouldn't do that. Request number 3. We traditionally welcome wooden boats, smaller than the big ships to come. And people really like that, because when the big ships go out, there's something else to see. So what we're requesting, if you look on here, on Pier B, which is the middle pier, you can see we're requesting all of those green slips highlighted in green. And then in request number 4, we're requesting the 2 ones highlighted in green on Pier C, which is all the way to the one on the left. And here's where you get to make a decision if you want. We have traditionally taken this whole basin, so the upriver side, the downriver side of Pier C, and the upriver side of Pier B. These slips have been marked out for lease, and the last thing we want to do is take a slip that might be leased, but as I understand it, there aren't any actual leaseholders at this point. And these slips are, so you might do better with downrigging with transients over here. We want to get the town to get as much income from this as you can. So we would be just pickled to take these 4 slips on the downriver side of Pier C instead of these 4 slips over there.
And that may be so.
And we don't need to decide that tonight.
Yeah.
It'd be fine with me not to, I don't want to suggest resolutions for you, but if you just wanted to say, staff works that out with us, that's fine with us.
That's what I'd like to say, yeah.
Go to page 2 now. If you're game, and we're happy to pay a fee for this, that the crews of the visiting boats can use the transient bathrooms at the Marina Boathouse. We're happy to pay a cleaning fee. I think that we've done that traditionally.
That's the best way to do it. You stock it with toilet paper and all that stuff and clean it as you go out.
So going on, does anybody have any questions about that first section, the docks? So the second section is the marina property. And this is a bit new, actually. We have a couple of new things here. So you guys did an awesome job at the marina. Let me just tell you, it's beautiful. And we have really held back for many years organizing anything too big down there because there's serious risk that we'd be underwater, and that is not make for a good event. Now that that risk is done, we would like to do something new down at the waterfront, which we hope will become a major component of this festival going forward. And that is to really amp up, sorry to use a terrible metaphor, the music component of the event. We've had music for many years, but what we would like to do now is really have 3 days of music down there. 3 days of food trucks and food vendors and entertainment. And what we would like to do is we would like to build a little festival village right in front of the Marina building that they've just taken down. And that would be a ticketed festival village. You'd have to pay to get in there, but it'd be expensive. It'd be $10 for a day, maybe $20 for the whole weekend. It helps us control it because there's alcohol in there, first of all. And it also helps recap the cost of the entertainment to a bit. So first and foremost, I guess with item 1 is we would like to reserve that. Basically, if you look on the other map, this map, we'd like to reserve this entire space between the Marina building and Scotts Point, between 1031 and 11/4, so we could build that festival village. We did this exact same thing last year. It was a big improvement to the festival. It separated festival goers and automobiles, which really wasn't possible before this.
So does this essentially expand the festival village to encompass that entire area?
Well, we have to leave enough room for emergency vehicles, launch boats, so we can't block the ramp. But this is a pretty good space over here.
Okay.
We think we can fit 300 or 400 people in there at least at a time. And there would be music down there. On Friday night, there'd be music from, say, 5 to 9. On Saturday, there'd be music from around noon to 9. And on Sunday, probably from about noon to 4 o'clock. So I just wanted to make you aware of it. There will be music down there until 9 o'clock. We're going to give all the neighbors free tickets so they can come in, hopefully assuage them. But we really think this will be a big addition to the festival. I think that 2 additional things with that. One is we would like to use the electric. You have beautiful new electric down there. We won't take much, but we would like to use the electric, and I should just probably put it out there. We would also, and this is not in here, like to put a dumpster out there. You guys were kind enough to put a dumpster out there for us last year. This year, we should probably put our own dumpster out there. And I think we paid for the dumpster last year.
Yeah, I think so.
We can just take care of it from scratch.
Change out of it, yeah.
Or either way, if you'd rather do it, we can pay for it. I don't care. But someone should get a dumpster and we'll pay for it. Going on to item number 2, we'd like those nice brick promenades. We would like to put some small exhibit boats on those that we traditionally put at the high street. So we'd like basically anything that's brick at the marina, we'd like to reserve. And third thing is we would like to ask the town not to grant any other permits for the marina property other than ours. Because if we're going to do this thing where we're selling food and drink and it's behind a thing where you have to get in, if someone is right next door to us doing it, you don't have to do that. That's going to hurt the business model for this. On a similar note, foot of High Street. We've traditionally asked you guys for the foot of High Street. And because the marina is in such better condition than it was, 2 years ago, we think we can consolidate the whole festival on the marina property, but we are going to be taking a little bit of parking away, not too much. So we don't have any plans to do anything at High Street, but we would ask that you don't issue any other permits for the foot of High Street and leave those as parking spaces down there. And we're getting close. I think we're on page 3 now. Traffic direction, and this is obviously something we have to coordinate with the fish whistle. We've sent email to them. We haven't heard back, but they're busy, so we'll probably get, not the fish whistle, I'm sorry, 98 Cannon Street, the new restaurant. But if you look back at this map again, we did this last year. We reversed the traditional traffic flow, and it worked very well. And that way, no one got stuck down there. So if we could do that again, that would be great. We also did this last year. We closed the foot of Front Street, Water Street. We had a banner that said, a little thing that said, "Don't come in here unless you're local traffic." And you could drive around it, but we were shocked, actually. Most people were very good and did not go down there. If the town ever had a mind to temporarily connect or make it so you could connect for festival events, and I don't want to I'm not suggesting you want to spend money, but if you're going to do it anyway, we'd vote for it, to connect the bottom of Queen Street, even if it could only be opened like temporarily to the foot of Water Street.
Going to happen pretty soon.
Is it going to happen?
Yeah,
You
see the pipes that are going in there.
I saw
now?
something was going on there.
There's a storm drain system so that the 3 condos can be built there, and to the downriver side of that will be a 20-foot right-of-way that's an exit only for Water Street to go back out Queen.
Do you think that'll be done by November?
Well, we'll have the stone in for it, because I think while all this dirt's being moved, I'm going to have the topsoil moved off so we can get a stone base and some filter cloth down.
We'll just assume we're doing this, but if it's done, then that would negate this.
Yep.
We wouldn't have to do it. That's great. That's good news.
I think it'll help them during construction to have that area stoned in so they can work off of it, and then once they're done, get off and leave us with a road.
I don't quite understand where that's taking place. Where's the connection?
If you go almost all the way to the Wilmer Park parking lot.
Okay.
And you were to take a right before the parking lot, and connect to the end of the Queen Street, the dead end.
Gotcha. Okay.
In a straight line, 20 feet
Right next to
wide.
Wilmer Park. That's it.
Okay. There's probably a 20-foot grass strip in between, so it'll look nice.
I biked across it, yes. Okay.
So final section is Part E, Wilmer Park fireworks on page 3. Basically what we're asking for here is to shoot fireworks either on Friday or Saturday. We've traditionally done them on Friday with Saturday as a rain date. We're still a little bit up in the air on whether we'll shoot them on Friday or Saturday now, so we're kind of asking for both. But I'll let you know if we decide to use Saturday, then we can get that part out of it. In order to do that, we basically need the whole park for the afternoon, starting like say 2 o'clock, from that promenade that goes from the foot of Water Street or Front Street over to the Hinson Pavilion. Everything from there to the water needs to be blocked off for the fire marshal. And in the past, you guys have been super helpful in erecting a temporary fence across there.
Okay.
And if you're willing to do that again, it would certainly help us out
Right.
a lot. And just as with the other request, when we narrow in exactly what date those fireworks will be, I can tell you, and we might be able to get rid of the Friday part of this request. And just as we asked at the foot of High Street and at the Marina, we're going to ask if you can avoid issuing any permits for any other special requests at the foot at Wilmer Park. There have been some over the years, and it's, we really like, actually, it's really nice that people want to do things with Downrigging Weekend, and we want to try to be as helpful as you can, but we think with that new music festival component of this, we're going to want as many parking spaces as we can get, and there's going to be a lot going on down there, so we're hesitant to add to it. And I think that is it.
Are you going to have, I thought I got the idea that for the cruise and stuff, for the visiting boats, that's what you wanted, the bathrooms and showers?
Yes, just the cruises.
So you'll have
we will
porta
have porta
johns
potties.
for the good?
Yeah,
'Cause
absolutely.
I think that would be overwhelming for those
Yeah.
bathrooms.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for the people who are also.
And we, last
still.
year you were kind enough to let us have the office at the Marina, and it was great.
Yeah.
But we're not making that request again because we know you guys are gonna want it, and we think it's probably better for us to be closer to the water with our
Okay.
information tent.
Okay, but
The new Washington College buildings don't play into any of the fireworks or any of that problem.
No, so we shoot, I think, Class C fireworks, which are basically ones you can drive across into Pennsylvania and buy. So as long as the wind is no more than 15 miles an hour, we have sufficient distance.
Well, it seems to me if they let you do it when those condos, those condos are actually closer than the Washington College.
I think they are. I think the new Washington College buildings, I mean, the Hinson Pavilion, I think, is that and the condo. So I think the new building is further away. That's good, though. I hadn't thought about that. So we'll check with the fire marshal early to see if that's the case.
I already did when
Did you?
we talked about not having fireworks this year. They're not in our budget, so I
Yeah.
was finding out how much a show like that would cost us.
Yeah.
A reduced show that would fit in without, with those distances.
Yeah.
And it's about like that,
Okay.
so.
So, well, as always, just to finish up, we really appreciate the town's historic partnership with us. We couldn't do it without the town. We think it's a good event for the town, it's a good event for us, and we are excited to see what we can do new this year.
Well, you bring a good, how can I say that, a good group of people comes down to that, they're nice citizens.
Thank you.
And usually they're pretty well heeled, so they help out the coffers.
Okay.
Do you want to wait till we're at full? Continue?
I can't
I know you
initiate
can't.
anything, so.
So, do we have a motion? Do we have 3 votes for this tonight, or do we want to wait till Ellsworth's back?
I think they're all, we can vote
Can
for
we have
it.
a motion then,
Sure.
please?
Make a motion that we approve the permit for down reading weekend, October, what do you want to start?
November 1st
No.
through 3rd, but some of the requests go back to October 30th. I think that's the
Yeah.
earliest request we have, starts October 30th.
October 30th to November 5th.
Something roughly, yeah, I think
Is there a second?
that brackets it.
I second that motion.
Any discussion? All right,
Aye.
let's have a vote. 3-0, 1 abstention. Thank you.
Thank you guys very much.
Thanks, Drew.
That's the end of my report. How did I do?
What about this?
What's that? That's your report, isn't it?
No.
She's
Enterprise
done.
zone.
I don't have- Okay, I'm sorry. Enterprise zone. I guess I have an old. Okay, we have, it's just one?
There's 3.
Oh, really?
Kay's been working on these. These are windfalls, or, yeah, those are different.
Okay.
Do you want to present them? What you're here?
Sure, I mean, these are the resolutions that are required of the town every time somebody applies under the enterprise zone for either a income tax exemption or abatement or a property tax abatement. So the ones before you now, there is an income tax application from KRM Construction and KRM Real Estate in the same building, so it's part of, we put it in as just one resolution. They are looking forward to hiring 1 extra person, so because they are adding a new job, they're not replacing somebody, they're creating a new job in the enterprise zone, they're going to be applying for this. So the town is just saying, you recognize their eligibility to apply for this tax credit.
Right.
The other 2 are properties that Kit Team LLC, the corporate owner of the Stamps building and the old JR's Pub, Restaurant, etc. building. Theirs is for the property tax credit, which is, I don't have it really in front of me, but it's the 10-year tax relief that you get 80% for the first 5 years, and then it's a sliding scale down to 30% in the 10th year. So these are major investments that are being made on High Street. We're obviously thrilled with it, and this is they're putting in the application to get that property tax relief for the great value they're adding to those buildings in the next 6 months or so. Any questions?
I'll just say, if you all have not gone like behind the old Andy's / JR's Pub, it is kind of astonishing what's happening. This isn't just like a major investment. This is a complete redevelopment of a very sprawling and important property right in the heart of the historic district.
Yeah, and
And
we-
Stam's is
I was gonna
a
say-
close second to how epic these renovations really are going to be.
Well, and
for
it's
the town.
taken an old
They're
building
already in the
and
enterprise zone, right?
Yes, they're already in the enterprise zone. I'm just saying, like, if anybody deserves tax credits for investing, these are at the top of the list.
Yeah, no, they're getting the buildings in really good shape, and they're bringing in great businesses to these.
Well, the
entities.
businesses are okay.
I have great faith in the businesses coming in. So it's all very exciting.
It is.
So I think all the businesses downtown will benefit even from
no doubt.
when
These
we
will be
improve
magnets,
those.
will help get people downtown to shop.
Restaurants, actually, it's like car dealerships. Everybody wonders why all the car dealerships are one place, because when people go to look for a car, they don't want to drive all over. They want to get them all in one. Same thing with restaurants. No matter how good your restaurant is, if you drive from Wilmington and come down here 5 times, you're going to want to try someplace else. So it's a good place.
So let me just paraphrase them, that we'll probably get more of these as time goes by. The first one, as she mentioned, was for the KRM construction company that's in what people know as the Chestertown Bank. And the action part of this, this is at 205 Cannon Street, their rear entrance. Be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of Chestertown that KRM Development Corporation and KRM Construction Company LLC shall be eligible to receive an income tax credit of $1,000 for each new qualifying employee and up to $6,000 for each new qualifying economically disadvantaged employee, the latter to be credited as $3,000 in year 1, $2,000 in year 2, and $1,000 in year 3. That doesn't come out of the town coffers, that's eligibility with the state. So that's the resolution 1, 2019 is basically an income tax credit. The other two, which Kay talked about, 215 High Street, the action part of this is that they're investing $2 million in the building, and that we're therefore resolving that the owners of the property shall receive a real property tax credit against the increase in county taxes resulting from the above referenced capital improvements, that credit being 80% of the assessment increase during the first 5 taxable years, then decreasing 10% annually to 30% in the 10th year. And as for 337, 337 half, 340, and 341 High Street, formerly known as JR's or Andy's or whatever, the investment there is $5 million.
Wow.
And virtually the resolution says the same thing. That's resolution 3, the one before it was resolution 2, and the first one was resolution 1. And that just enables them to go ask for those things in accordance with the enterprise zone that we created. So that's real action. And like I say, there'll be more at the new campus as those come in. You see the buildings going up. And so these all require signatures. I only have one copy, Jen.
Yes, I only have one. I was going to make copies after that. That's all we
So
need is one,
If you
right?
guys go ahead and pass this, or then we'll get your signatures later.
Do you?
Yeah, and I want to say, just kind of on behalf of the Main Street philosophy, one of the things we love about both of these, of the KIT team projects, is each has at least, well, in the old Stamps building, one residential apartment. Up a 300 block of High Street, there'll be at least 3, quality, modernized apartments. That's just great to get more vitality downtown, to have people living there. So,
No doubt.
very happy on all fronts on this.
Oh, and by the way, this has great descriptions of what's happening, so we'll make copies for you or the press, so you can read what's happening in the previous paragraphs of what's downstairs, what's upstairs. It's really,
Did I hear that right? $2 million in the Stamps?
and you have 5 million into,
Yeah, I heard the 5 million, but 2 million.
2 in an ice cream parlor.
so what I would like is.
You gotta sell a lot of
They're
ice
also-
cream,
They're
that's all I
restoring the
can say.
historic storefront facade. They're doing a lot of really good things for the look of the building, and
This is a
It's in bad
godsend.
shape.
This is, I would say this is, I would say probably more of an altruistic venture. I don't think that the investors are really planning on recouping that investment.
Not in their
anytime
lifetime.
soon. So we are completely blessed that this is happening. I'll just put it that way.
So we can either.
Can we do this with one motion, or do we need 3
I would make a
separate?
motion if, if I was a motion maker, that we authorize these tax credit, or the enterprise zone resolutions 1, 2, and 3 of 2019.
Okay, someone want to make a motion?
I'll move that we accept them.
The enterprise zone,
Approve those,
enterprise zone tax.
1, 2, and 3.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show we unanimously approve all 3 tax credits.
So we'll get multiple copies ready for you all to sign and get in contact you.
Do you want me to go Xerox anything now?
Oh, that would be great, would you? Because I found it interesting, not interesting enough to read it all, but, you know,
Yeah.
you know how to use the copying machine, Kay?
There's a booklet, right?
You're probably the best. That's the end of my report.
So I just have one item on my agenda that was actually a request from a certain other member of the council. The marina has come a really, really long way. There is still some work being done. If you haven't been down there lately, the large boat shed has now been completely removed. The cement pad beneath it will be removed at some point this spring. And then we also have June back on the scene to fix the boat ramp, and they're putting in like a cofferdam starting today. So lots going on. We hope to have all this done ideally by Tea Party. We'll see. It's always really hard to tell with that site. It's been a very challenging place to get stuff done. But with all this being said, I know that Marty has for a long time wanted to rename the facility. Suggestion thrown out there was that we name this, instead of just Chestertown Marina, the Port of Chestertown. It does have a kind of a nice ring to it. I would say the pros are it's like a fresh new name. It's kind of a cool sounding name. It speaks to our history as a working port. The one downside I see to it is that it would necessitate a lot of rebranding. So like right now on our website, for example, for the marina, it says Chestertown Marina, and there's a little, trademark symbol for it. So changing the name doesn't come without ramifications. Also, the name of the website is Chestertown
Yeah, but
Marina.
you also get the benefits of getting rid of the negative reports that Chestertown Marina had for a long time.
I understand.
The fact that silted in sails, there's people that just don't, in the marina world, it's not known as a great marina.
Understood.
And we want to let them know that we got a new marina, it's not really a marina because we're not going to work on boats, but it's going to be, so I think in the end, we're going to come way far ahead if we change it. And then when we're applying for some more grants, but it looks nice to have the word, park or port.
Do you all have thoughts on this matter?
I thought it sounded, first time I heard of it, the other day was the first time I'd heard, and I thought it sounded good. I noted that Reverend Tolliver, at least via email, also thought it was a good idea.
Do you think it's a good idea?
I can't imagine that changing the name on a website is going to be that expensive or that labor intensive.
I can't either. It's worth it in the long run, and I know Dave's in favor of it because we've talked about it, but he's not here to vote tonight, so.
You mean the Reverend? You mean Ellsworth?
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on this, Linda?
Well, I'll probably be put down for this, but I just thought we have the Statue of Lucy down there, not to rename the marina, but to have Lucy's Landing at the marina, just for families, because you want it to be a park area for children and families. That can just be
That's kind of a
delineated.
different issue, though.
I know. The rest, I don't see where Port of Chestertown is going to make a difference from Chestertown Marina.
It'll make a difference to some people.
You don't even have a boat, do you?
You don't even.
He's got a canoe.
That won't win your vote, I know that.
Yeah, I think what we'll do is, why don't we wait till Ellsworth comes back? We'll sit on this. That's the proposal that's out there, is to rename this from Chestertown Marina to Port of Chestertown. And I would suggest if we do that, the word marina has to be in there somewhere.
Isn't it like, if we did Chestertown Marina at the Port of Chestertown, isn't that kind of like Camden Yards at whatever, You know,
I think that's redundant. I think it could
I don't
be,
really want to write that out ever in one place.
I know.
But I mean, if you want that on your website, people are gonna call it Chestertown Marina. I don't care what you name it.
Right.
They're gonna say, I'm going up to the
Chestertown
Chestertown Marina.
Well,
But if
why
you
don't you
wanna
just
have
put
a
the Port of
fancy,
Chestertown and then in
Pedigree,
small
that's
print?
it's,
But I think you're better off if you get rid of the Chestertown Marina name altogether.
well, if you can, but you won't be able to.
Well, the word is out. I mean, of all the renovations. I mean, you don't, all you have to do is have one voter say, have you seen Chestertown Marina? And then you've got 10 people who know it immediately in the
But
voting
if you say
world.
Lucy's Landing one time, they'll stay it forever.
Lucy's Landing is that's just gonna bring people back, time and time
Did you hear what that
again.
woman
See
said?
that statue and pay the
Did you hear what she said we
homage.
should name this thing?
Not the marina.
Oh, okay.
Just that one little.
All right, I'm gonna suggest we table the official vote on that until Reverend Tolliver's back, and we'll just take it from there. So why don't we go ahead with ward reports, starting at your end tonight, Mr. Stetson.
Oh, well, great, thank you.
You're welcome.
On Tuesday, March the 19th, I went over on a bus to Annapolis to the Senate, along with 50 other concerned people from Chestertown, for the Save the Hospital, because Senator Hershey's Bill 1018 was being heard. I don't know how much of an impression we made, although the chairman of the committee asked everybody to stand up, and we got a little bit of applause, actually from the senators who were sitting in there. So it did pass, and I was glad to hear that. The next day, they had another one of Hershey's companion bills. Both of these bills go a long way for us to maintain our hospital as a real hospital and not an emergency room. It's my understanding that David Foster went on Wednesday the next day. Am I right?
That is true.
Right.
Same.
He went over the next day. And I'm going to go this coming Wednesday because it's over in the House and they want another group of people to go there. So I'll be on that bus that goes on Wednesday. And anybody out there that would like to go, they can go on the internet and check in and see if there's room on the bus to get there.
Marty, I've heard that is it really going to be a bus? When I talked to Margie Ellsberg, it sounded like it was going to be carpooling this time.
I can answer
No,
that.
it's a small bus, right?
It's a 15 passenger shuttle bus. We
Okay.
did sell out of that today, but if we had 15 people overnight, express interest, I would quickly arrange another, 20-seater.
Okay.
And we are arranging carpools.
Well, let me just tell you this about this whole thing. When this hospital was switching over, they came into the council to explain how they were going to help us by taking over our hospital. And I must have spoke I showed a lot of skepticism about the fact that we were losing a board made up of local people who care about local people, who want to do patient care, to some corporation. And believe me, it's a corporation. I'll speak to that in a minute. And we were giving that control away to somebody that doesn't live in this community and doesn't take care of them. But anyway, I must have bothered them a little bit because they sent somebody to my home a couple days later to talk to me, to try and convince me that this was a good idea, that we should sell our hospital out from under the people of Chestertown. When the guy left after an hour, I said, well, you're a very nice gentleman, but you haven't convinced me. I think we're making a mistake. I think it's proven to be true. I used to worry about University of Maryland's medical thing, worrying about the bottom line. Now, if you read the newspaper, they're not only worried about their bottom line being enhanced, they're worrying about themselves being enhanced. When we have people on that board, 4 of them have resigned because they have conflict of interest. The chairman was doing $4 million worth of business with the University of Maryland Medical Center. Apparently the Baltimore mayor got paid $500,000 for books she didn't even write. So this really bothers me. I can't imagine us having that happen if we would have kept that local board at this hospital, which was operating in the black, and they would lead you to believe that they were getting ready to go down a rat hole, and I don't think that's true either. And the doctors that I've talked to don't think that was true. So that's the end of my soapbox as far as that goes. The next day, on Wednesday, the 20th, I went to the COG meeting, and I was very, very happy to invite them all down to drive through our marina and see what has been done down there. And some of them had, and they were very much impressed. It was also, I went over the things that we've done in the last 3 months, and it's kind of impressive.
Great.
So the meeting went well, so.
Good.
And that's actually the end of my board. But anybody that would like to go over to the hospital tomorrow, Wednesday rather, over to the Senate to support the hospital, they certainly would be welcome.
How about Ward 2?
Okay, Ward 2. Quaker Neck Road, the 25 mile an hour speed limit signs are up. And I want to apologize to Chief because at the last meeting, I gave credit to Washington College and to Chester River Landing, and I forgot to mention you, Chief. I apologize for your input in the meetings. However, Saturday, when I rode out to Chester River Landing, I was going 25, and on the way out, 2 cars passed me. And when I left Chester River Landing and came back, a pickup truck, I know, was probably going close to 50. So if that bridge is supposed to be a calming effect, I don't see it. You know, and that was just in a matter of, you know, just riding through Chester River Landing and coming back in town. So, do we have to get any kind of, is that a state road or a town road? State. So, I mean, can we put a police officer out there at the Armory?
Well, yes, ma'am, we can do enforcement out there, out to the town limit.
Okay. This was in less than 15 minutes, basically.
We just talked to State Highway Administration this morning by email, and they are going to take the 25 mile an hour ahead sign and move it another 50 yards out all the way to the town boundary.
Oh, wonderful.
So that'll be some help, I think,
Wonderful.
to slow people down before they get to that bridge on the way in.
And there were a lot of people down there because the college had an event at Wilmer Park on Saturday, so there were a lot of people walking along the road, too.
They haven't actually moved the signs yet. They have them marked.
Great.
It'd probably be a good idea for us to roll the speed sign back there too, when their signs are up, and you know, try to just be another flashing in your face to make you aware.
Okay. Great. I'd like to see some tickets if they're going to keep going up there. Get some revenue here. Okay, and then I forgot to bring the flyers, but the Humane Society of Kent County is having a shelter showdown on April 13th from 6 to 10:30, and that is at the Parks and Rec Center out to Wharton. So if you haven't gotten your tickets or you'd like to go to that, I know it's not in the town, but this is a big event for our Humane Society. Happy Chicken is opening at Kent Center on Sheila Road. They opened today, and that's for carry-out lunches. And again, I forgot to bring the business cards, but they are open, gosh, I forget the hours too, but anyway, if you want to order lunch, there's a Facebook page for Happy Chicken. And then this Saturday morning down at the Emmanuel Church, Kappa Sigma Fraternity, Sigma Fraternity is having breakfast from 8 to noon, and it's a $5 donation. And they have chosen 2 charities to give the money to. One is the University of Virginia for prostate cancer research, and then Kappa Sigma Military Heroes Fund, which is for Fisher's House, which provides housing for families of wounded veterans. So if you want breakfast Saturday morning, you can get it from, at Emmanuel Church from 8 to 12. Now, the Historical Society is reopening the little shop this Saturday morning, and it'll be, this year it will be from 10 to 2. So you don't have to be a member of the Historical Society if you'd like to volunteer. I'm begging for volunteers. And you can volunteer from 10 to 12 or 12 to 2. And it's the other visitor center.
It is.
In Chestertown. And the concert series is starting again on April 13th at Sumner Hall. And let's see, the playscape, the grass is rolling down the hill at the playscape in
Again.
Wilmer. Yeah.
I mean, those kids love that thing. They're up there all the time.
Saturday, there were
We
a
do
bunch
it
of people.
twice a
there.
year. We put new sod up there and,
Yeah, it's rolling.
I don't know whether rain doesn't get to it, or whether
I
the
don't
sun
know.
cooks it off the reflection.
But it was just, you know, when you go in, it's on this side. So I think that's all I have. And like I said, when Sabine was here, the artisans are back at the farmer's market, and there will be more vendors coming, more action downtown. Oh, and First Friday, this Friday.
Good.
All right, how about Ward 1?
Sure. I think everything's fine in Ward 1. We're very pleased that the crew came and fixed up Remembrance Park there. It looks very nice now. Last Monday, I was in Ocean City and met with Chuck Beerley, who is the finance director there. And this is significant because Worcester County, Wacomico, and Kent are really the three counties that are still fighting on this tax differential. We're the only ones in the state of Maryland. And Mr. Beerley was able to give me a little bit of a rundown on the lawsuit that they had filed against the county there. And I think there'd been some misrepresentation. Some people will say, oh, well, they sued and lost. Well, they sued on trying to change the whole status. Counties are classified right now in terms of shall counties or may counties, whether they shall provide a differential or whether they may if they want to. And these three counties are may. They tried to change that, and they probably tried to bite off too much. And according to the finance director there, while the judge dismissed it in terms of changing that categorization, he admitted that, hey, there was real merit in terms of the equity issues, and implied that he would consider it if they refiled on that. Now, we don't know whether they're going to refile or not. Mr. Beerley seemed to want to say they were going to do it, but he wasn't empowered to do that. I think that they're seriously considering that, and we should follow that closely. I'm not suggesting that we sue Kent County. It sure wouldn't hurt if they knew that was an option some places sometimes. The other thing that I heard for the first time, and I'd like to be able to verify, they said that several years ago, that was the way Annapolis got theirs. They did sue Anne Arundel. And I'd like to see if we can verify that and see if that's the case. It was interesting how similar the story from Ocean City versus Worcester County was to ours. Every year they would ask, and every year the county would say, oh, we don't have the money for that. The only vote they would get, they have 7 county commissioners, the only vote they would get would be from one of the commissioners who lives in Ocean City. The person who used to be the town manager there is now on the town council, and he's kind of leading the charge.
Do they run by district? If they run by district, they're probably never going to get it to change.
Well, not on the 7-to-1, not on that, and that's the reason they're going to the legal route on this, and at least considering the lawsuit. So at any rate, anything that we can do to support Mayor Serino when he goes to the belly of the beast here and argues our case.
It's going to be interesting. All right, there were no requests from the public to be on the agenda. Are there any questions or comments from the audience this evening? All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are unanimously adjourned.
I've got one sign.